Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for February 6th through 13th, 2023. Well, we're coming off of this really intense Leo full moon. Have you been feeling it? Wow. These intense squares that were happening are just now coming off. So that energy of the full moon is lingering because we are still feeling through the next couple of days this Sun square Uranus and Venus square Mars. It's very interesting energy though, because this Leo full moon, that's with the Sun in Aquarius, the Sun in Aquarius and the full moon in Leo. It kind of has an energy of extracting out our light, our expression, what's inside of us. So that means that these squares are everything to do with what's blocking us from coming into that self-expression. Of course, with Mars just having turned direct in January, but still inching its way out of this retrograde shadow. It's this impotent and disempowered part of ourselves, our masculine, that hasn't been able to speak our truth. And so we've got all of these issues coming to the foreground because with the Sun in Aquarius, Mercury about to move into Aquarius, and Pluto on the way to Aquarius as of March 2023, I think the 23rd of 2023, we're getting a different perspective, and everything is pointing to our role and our mission, our purpose in moving as we move into this new era and this new energy of the Aquarian age. So the Sun square Uranus speaking to our wealth, our energetic wealth, because Uranus is in Taurus, and this speaks to our wealth and our worth and our resources. And this is the deal. Supernova souls have an incredible amount of wealth, energetic resources. And this is everything that Uranus in Taurus is speaking to us about. Now, the Uranus and Taurus energy is getting amplified because Uranus is, of course, direct. We have all planets direct right now. But the North Node has been in Taurus for close to the last year, a little over a year. And so we are coming to the end part of the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio. And this is activating the Uranus in Taurus energy, kind of like, are you getting the message? Right? Because the North Node in Taurus says that the issues of Taurus is how we know this is how we move forward. The energies of Taurus, which is about wealth and worth. And so, but with Uranus there, it's wealth and worth for our energetic potential. Because Uranus was discovered at the time of electricity. Of course, now we're realizing we've had electricity and higher technology again and again when our society has been put through reset after reset, wiping our memory. And this is the key energy for supernova souls. It's like coming back into who we really are. And that's exactly what this astrology, the energy of this whole time, is about. So this Sun in square to Uranus, and the moon in that full moon was in square to Uranus. And so we've got this permission for our energetic wealth. So Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and the Sun is in Aquarius. And so the Sun in square to Uranus and Taurus is talking about our permission for our role in the Aquarian age. But that is everything to do with coming back into our energetic and intuitive potential. And so we're coming up against this wall around whether or not we deserve to be who we really are. And we've given it away again and again. And this is the single most thing that is keeping this whole story back, is our memory of who we really are. So it's like the only way the control energies can maintain control of humanity is if we continue to deny and forget who we really are. Do you see the exciting precipice we're at, supernova souls? Because we know there's no way in hell we're going to go through this again. Because we already went through hell, right? We incarnated in the Piscean age. And it's kind of like the energy of this time. The thing about this energetic wealth, this like permission, this owning our who we really are, and standing up and embracing it, honoring it. It has to do, we have to overcome all of the fear programming and authority contracts, and wherever we said, oh no, that's not ours to have. And it's like, wait a minute. In that, essentially, we gave away our memory of who we are. Like, is this legit? Like, in what world is this okay? To like steal people's memories and to keep them trapped in a lower dimensional reality. But guess what? Once we get out of this trap, we're never going to be trapped again. And that's the power that's coming forward in supernova souls right now. So the Sun square Uranus is just like this, bringing up everything of anything, anytime that's been in the way of our spiritual path and purpose. Because we came here for this. We came here to come into our more full potential. And that is intricately tied into this same potential we more fully expressed in previous experiences. See, we've already done this. Well, they've got us scared. And we bought into it of our own power. So everything is about this right now. And the deal with the energies is that it's a frustrating time, especially with a Venus to square Mars, but these are coming off the next couple of days. And then we have a break. So it's really interesting because we've got the retrograde energies are completing this week. And so we've got Mercury coming out of shadow on the 7th. And that is very intense because remember, Mercury started this retrograde at 24 degrees Capricorn. And Mercury made 2 squares with Chiron right in the beginning before it turned retrograde and right after it turned retrograde. And then just last weekend, it made its final square with Mercury. So we're coming out of this pattern. But when Mercury turned retrograde at the end of December, it was at 24 degrees, 2 degrees away from where Pluto was at that time at 26 degrees Capricorn. So it's this really interesting energy of Mercury coming up to Pluto into conjunction. I see conjunction as a 6-degree orb, which is 3 degrees on each side. And so within 3 degrees, and then boom, turned retrograde. Right? It's like, oh, no, no, no. We got to work something out here. We got to rethink something. We got to know, I can't face Pluto yet. And that working out that we've been doing has to do with the square with Chiron, which is our fight for freedom, our mind, our life force, our energy in our own body, and our permission for that energy to access and use that energy. So this is really powerful because here we have on the 7th, Mercury out of shadow, and then, of course, catches back up to Pluto. So this Mercury-Pluto conjunction is an opportunity, there's an energy around it of great realization. You know, Mercury is the mind, and retrograde, it's about figuring some stuff out, re-examining, rethinking through. In Capricorn, it's about authority, where we've given away our own authority. And then Chiron and Aries is like, wow, we're at this point where we have got to wake up now in an immediate situation and claim back our life and life force, our organic God code DNA. And we have to choose and claim and fight for organic life on a cellular level. That's what's happening in our bodies right now. So that is so powerful that Mercury is finally catching up to Pluto. And that means that now Pluto is the breaker down, the destroyer, and the recapitulator, kind of. But Pluto is about our power And in Capricorn, it's about power structures, authority structures over power, which is everything we're dealing with. That we got tricked into thinking that our power created catastrophe and death and destruction on the earth, an Atlantean story. And so we took on all of that shame and blame, and we said, who wouldn't, as a sensitive soul? Oh, I'll never do that again. I don't want to hurt anybody. But it was never our fault. It's not possible in the way that we, as purified, as soul, we came in as full initiates. And it's impossible to miscreate in that way. That was all a trap and a lie and a setup, And so this is the energy that's keeping us from fully expressing our potential. And so Mercury now catching up to Pluto is, where have we agreed throughout this whole evolution and prior? Some of these contracts, I call them like they have maybe like galactic contracts, where you have in other evolutions perhaps had contractual arrangements with these energies that where you agreed not to come into your power or remember who you are. Which is what ends this whole nightmare game, right? That's all we need to do is remember who we are. And so that's the energy of this Mercury catching up to Pluto, and that happens on the 10th of February. So there's a flash of insight energy coming, the Mercury catching up or, connecting with Pluto after this initiation of freeing the mind from mind control. And it's almost like opening up a pathway for this connection to our higher self and our higher intuitive power, the veil thinning, and our access to the Akashic records. So it could be that these memories just kind of flood in, kind of sink into your life as you kind of like, oh, I feel this, some sort of insight or picture information coming forward around not just a past life energy, but who you were in a past life. This is what they don't want us to know. I mean, we all have these gifts and skills as supernova souls that we've developed over evolutions. But it's like, and when I talk about this, we're figuring out who we are, but part of that is literally figuring out what we've done in past lives, like the roles we've played. And there's a lot of trauma and tragedy there, but underneath the trauma and tragedy is the truth. Like, we've had prior incarnations on this earth. I've seen in lifetime picture after lifetime picture with supernova souls where we were way more fully embodied and working with our gifts and skills on a spiritual level. See, this is the deal. It's the supernova souls. We're not here in this lifetime to work on like whatever certificates hang on your wall. The work you want to do in this lifetime is deep and profound and hidden within us, because it's been so suppressed. So what we want to work with is typically from previous lifetimes. And the thing you want to work with the most, the gift and skill that you want to bring forward the most, is often the most repressed and the most hidden. So this is this uncovering process that we're in, and Pluto is literally digging up the dirt at the end degrees of Capricorn. Everywhere that the truth has been buried. And we've allowed that to happen. We played along with the game. We bought into it. They're like, oh, we're going to persecute you if you have these materials, or this has to go away, a reset, right? All that teachings have to go away. Bury the scrolls, disperse, hide, pretend you don't know, hide behind these other religions, And so we said, okay, we better just hide, and we better just go ahead. It's like Jesus got persecuted, we get persecuted, and it's like, this story's got to end. We've got to get out of the Piscean age. And the only way out is to turn the tables. And that's where we're at right now. We're building a new world and turning this world around, right? That we're at this turning point. There's no denying it. How long this stretches out and what it exactly entails, we don't know. But this is, and we know that supernova souls, we play a crucial role. And is this it? Just simply, what if you had one past life memory that was like, oh, I did that, or whatever. And I was like, oh, and here we are playing small and begging for crumbs in this world. And that's this turning our world around, is that those are last will be first. Because what the value systems must change as we move forward. And the highest value will be this organic life force and a connection to something greater. And this energetic, an ability to work with the energies of the universe. Now, this is so important, and it's interesting just to look at this Mercury-Pluto conjunction, kind of like past life energies, pictures coming through, because we're kind of we're a month into this Chinese New Year now, or a couple weeks here, I guess, into this Chinese New Year. So we're starting to get a feel for the energy of the year of the rabbit. The rabbit is a feminine yin energy, and water associated with water, and it's a water year. So we're looking at the water is such a mystery, but it speaks to the energy of being able to work with elemental forces. Supernova souls, we have huge abilities in this area that we have no idea. But I've seen again and again, like ancient mystery schools in the Far East in Lemurian time, where supernova souls learning to work with these elemental forces, to work with. We've been working against, everything is working against us, and we've had to work against everything. It just feels like we've been stuck in this trap of duality and up against the wall. No room on any level for the true spiritual expression of who we are. And this is the frustration that's been coming forward with these squares. It's our life not lining up with who we are. And getting so frustrated with the day-to-day, mundane bullshit drama. And it's just like, it's just this feeling of wanting to run away and go to an ashram, you know? And so, but this is different. We did that before. You know, we went to the hills, we hid, we dispersed. Now we bring it down from the mountain and we live it and we breathe it right here as truth. The cool thing about it is that we're going to be feeling much better when we establish and claim the life that can support us as spiritual beings. We can then use this to demonstrate to humanity a different way to live, the living, breathing example. But how can we do any of this if we can't receive that energetic wealth of who we are? And so the messages in the stars right now are speaking to, okay, time to receive who you are, you know? And so this Mercury and Pluto, when they're coming back together at 28 degrees, very end, you know? And then on the 12th, so that happens on the 10th. And then on the 12th, Mercury will move into Aquarius. So this is going to be it's going to feel like a lightening of the load, because Mercury's been Capricorn. Mercury is a quick moving planet, but with retrograde, you know, it's spent over the last almost 2 months in Capricorn. And it's a heavy energy. It's like face the music, face the facts, deal with reality. And the reality we're dealing with is that we've been giving over our power to the point where we almost lost everything. And on a cellular level, we're claiming that back. And so this is very intense, because the energy of this is like Pluto and Mercury finally meeting up at 28 degrees, you know, and then Mercury, of course, is moving again. Now moves right into Aquarius on the 12th. And then on that same day, February 12th, Pluto will make it to 29 degrees Capricorn, the very last degree of the sign. And so Mercury moves into Aquarius after they meet, and it's kind of like, come on, we're going to do it now. We're going to just jump over. And so all of these squares coming on the heels of all the planets direct, and this momentum energy and this push, there's definitely this portal, this magic, this reaching, being able to reach through and connect back to source and spirit, and realizing as we fight for our own autonomy and authority, how much we've been in a cage, like energetically and electromagnetically. I think supernova souls have really noticed over these last years how it's just more and more difficult to feel that intuitive voice, to reach out and feel a connection. And so it's like that's part of the power of coming together as supernova souls, because we're like energetically forging these connections back together. And maybe those connections also allow, mass consciousness. This like puts loopholes and, um, kind of break in the code of the control, and creates little pathways for whoever and whatever level of consciousness to reach back. Our connection to source is the most important thing. It's everything. It's who we are. And what's happening with this modern medical situation and electromagnetic situation is this is interfering with our ability more and more to connect naturally. So whatever stage of consciousness a human is at, they should be able to connect and feel connected, right? Like that's who we are and where we came from and the truth. And everything's working against it. So that's a really important marker for us. The supernova souls, we're here to stand for that, to be in that, to live and breathe. And our role could be way different than we think it's going to be, and have to do with bringing groups of people back to this connection. It's so important. It's everything. It used to be a frivolous little fun thing to go do some spiritual activity, It's everything. And so we had to get to this life and death point. We had to get to this end game. We had to get to this place where on a cellular level, we kick into gear and be like, wait a minute, I'm human, organic, spiritual, God source. I'm going to live it, breathe it, claim it. So because now this energy is coming from Jupiter, now direct, and making its way out of retrograde shadow. So Jupiter will come out of retrograde shadow on the 11th, right? So we've got Mercury, Pluto on the 10th, Jupiter out of shadow on the 11th, and then Mercury moves into Aquarius and Pluto to 29 degrees on the 12th. So this week is just this like pushing at the gate, inching forward, and so powerful that those shifts happen right after these intense squares. So it's like pushing us through a portal into a new reality. And kind of be open to that. Be open to unusual ways that things, Uranus has an energy of radical changes and unexpected energies, synchronicities and things. And so be open to this. Be open to begin to work, coming back to that year of the rabbit, coming back into our ability to work with the elemental forces, not against anything anymore, but the power of nature and the power of energy. And we've worked with this in the past, and we have such an intimate knowledge, but we've blocked ourselves from it. But it's so beautiful. So part of our deal is coming back into the purification as on a soul level of who we are in our power, so that we can step up and use it and demonstrate it. So whenever this energy of awakening and healing and miracles came forward in the Piscean age, it was just immediately squelched and made bad, called wrong, bad, and evil, right? And this is like upside down world. So this is part of turning our world around and taking all of the healing power that we have that's been called heretical or evil or destroyed, we were told destroyed the world, and purify this and know that, have these past life memories come through where we were working with these powers in an absolute pure and beautiful connected way. That was a Silurian energy of like impossible to miscreate because you're in alignment completely, with the forces of nature. It's like kind of like that art of war, like using energy to, working with energy and allowing it to directing it within the direction itself, if that makes any sense. And this is spiritually what we're learning to do too, to come out of all of this over there and this over there and come back to center, to the middle way, to the path, to this alignment. And that purification a big part of this year's energy, with Venus and Black Moon Lilith coming together, with Venus's retrograde in Leo, and then their third and final conjunction at 0 degrees Virgo. This is a purification of the feminine, but representing those intuitive gifts and skills, right? So cleaning up this whole story. And the first, last, and last, now first, and the great redemption, and the true balancing, the reconciliation of wealth and worth. And you are abundantly wealthy in what really matters. And here to lead the way for humanity and to a savior, really. I mean, and it's interesting because we're redoing and undoing this whole savior mentality and story from the Piscean age. Part of the deal of getting out of the Piscean age is rewriting those stories and those distortions. But there's something very powerful that the supernova soul needs to understand about your role here that's coming through, you know. You standing at the gates of possibility. And this is this co-creation energy, you know, being with the elements, making a move based on intuition and using your will, but then also waiting for the universe to respond and using that response to be able to make your next best move in alignment. Very, very different way of being in the world. But really cool uncovering of these abilities and gifts within our soul groups, and super exciting to step into this unknown gifts and skills that have been so suppressed and begin to work with these energies for the good of all. You know, originally technology was all for the betterment of humanity. In Lemurian time, there was technology, higher technology, but it was all in alignment. So we have to claim your alignment in order to really get the disclosure of the technology. And that's interesting because I'd say that that would be a good definition of the power within supernova souls, is ability to align and work with these energies. When you're in alignment, you have full access to very powerful energies of the natural world. No wonder the religious distortions wanted us to think that the natural world was somehow evil, wrong, and bad too. You know? And it's just microcosm expression and a beautiful celebration of manifested spirit. And so can we work with it? We know that what we see isn't solid. Nothing really exists. So in order to get out of this matrix trap, we've got to begin to open up to this higher technology that helps us understand and work with these elements. And that's what's coming for supernova souls right now. So pay attention, make time for these insights to come through over this week, moving out of that intense square energy. And then this kind of like lightning bolt realizations, clarity, where you've been given up control in your life and how to take it back, and supported by real past life inclination, memory, reflection from the outside world, reminding you who you've been and to quit playing so small. And so this is such a powerful time. And then next week, so we're just kind of lingering in this energy of this Mercury, Pluto, and then the planets just kind of move forward because Jupiter out of shadow, you know, Mercury out of shadow. And then we come into Mercury in Aquarius next week. We'll be coming into a square with the nodes, but we kind of have this in between time of out of intense squares. So it's kind of like rest, recapitulation, get ready to move. But it's kind of like a suspended feeling, like waiting. And I guess we're kind of waiting for really Mars to get out of retrograde shadow and have his third and final square with Neptune, which will happen in the middle, the Ides of March. So, but next week we'll feel Mercury in Aquarius, now getting a greater perspective, way lighter vibe with Mercury in Aquarius. It's kind of like, whoa, 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 I can see this from it's from a mile high. It's way different out there. And so that's going to be helpful. But then Mercury comes into the square with the nodes, and we talked about the nodes coming to the end section. The next few months, the nodes will be moving out of Taurus and Scorpio. So when we come to the end of a time of the nodes in a sign, it's like, did you get the message? Did you get the message? And that's very powerful. Again, our mind, which is a higher mind of the Aquarian age, a connected consciousness to source, and in square to how we move forward, how we back, what's holding us back. So it's that mind distortions and unknowns of, like, we don't know our own mind, that's keeping us from receiving our higher gifts, and that's also keeping us in the shadowy energies of shame around our gifts. So that story will kind of continue to play out with Mercury and Aquarius, but from a bigger perspective, and inviting those messages come through from the Akashic records to help us sort this stuff out. So that will be the next energy. And Mercury will then come into a square with Uranus. So we'll talk through all that as we move into it. Right when Mercury is square the nodes, Venus will be in conjunction with Neptune. And that's a very powerful energy around what we've been talking about, the purification of the intuitive mind, the feminine, the reclaiming of the spirituality, the mystical, magical miracles of the Piscean age out from under those distorted stories. And that is exactly at the middle of February that both of those energies happen. And so it's bringing together this deep desire for our spiritual life, and then that realization of Mercury after this retrograde in square to the future and the past, and kind of giving us a moment to pause and make a choice. So that's the energy that will be kind of moving us through this next month, with up to that Mercury coming, or Mars coming out of retrograde shadow. So that's kind of going to be a huge chapter end point, and that means we're coming to the last few pages of this chapter. And so we really want to take the time to think through this retrograde energy. What does it mean for us? Take time to open up, meditate, to receive these images and information that want to come through to support you in who you really are. And just be present with this amazing time that we're in and the amazing experiences we're here to have together this time. So much has been stolen from us, supernova souls, lifetime after a lifetime. And this is our time of redemption. And so we've got to stop up and be worthy, feel worthy, and be willing to receive back this abundance. You know, all of those dreams and blessings and visions, you've put spiritual work into so much that could never come into form in this world the way it is. And yet it's waiting there. It's already in form in this other dimension. It's trying to land here. And what if the only thing in the way is our ability to vibrate at that abundance and be like, yep, it's mine. I'm ready to receive it. I'm ready to live this high life. I'm ready to be first. I'm ready to fully receive and embody and celebrate and express the truth of who we are, spiritual beings. And it's all you're here for. I mean, it's the truth of who you are and what we're doing. And it'll be so fun together. And it's kind of like outside of agenda. It's like, I'm going to go wake up the world. We've all tried that. And this is more like, oh, I'm just gonna be me and see what unfolds and enjoy this great adventure of coming into higher dimensional awareness while we're in a body. And quite an amazing experience. So this Mercury moving into Aquarius can kind of give us a chance to step back and be like, okay, I can see the bigger picture of this and how amazing it is. And I'm going to get out of my everyday drama play and take my energy back. This is our autonomy, our authority, as we take back our attention and our energy and put it on that truth. I know you've been holding this truth all alone for a really long time. Thank you. Now it's time to come together and let these seeds sprout and germinate and grow. So thank you so much for your support. Keep in mind that the Friday update is available in the SuperNova Soul Tribe. It's $10 a month to get that Friday update. There's also monthly live Q&As. The next one is this Friday, the 13th. So consider joining that SuperNova Soul Tribe. Also, SuperNova Soul Tribe Gold is $20 a month, and that gets you entrance to the activations and the sharing circles after the new moon and full moon activations. So thank you so much for your support. Being a SuperNova Soul, we're going to do amazing things together, and I can't wait. And I'm so glad more and more SuperNova Souls are really feeling the presence of each other and the growth. As we grow, we're affecting and the field, the supernova field, and then that energy is available for all of us. And so great work, and keep it up, and let's stay together in this potent energy of the powerful times that we live. And so thank you so much, SuperNova Souls. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.